listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, and live on Discord we got Josh.
Hey.
It is that show of the year where we have to run 1,000,000 miles an hour because there is so many matches to talk about with WrestleMania 41. NXT Stand and Deliver is just going to hang off to the side, and you know what, I'm just going to crack on. We're going to run the matches through night one, then we'll talk about the matches on night two. First up, the War Raiders, the New Day World Tag Team Championship. Sort of thrown on the card. It feels like a little bit like we wanted to put a tag team championship on, but we didn't want to touch the SmackDown tag titles.
It's interesting. I like the War Raiders. I think they're both very talented guys. I think the New Day has to go over here. If they don't, this entire thing has been pointless.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, I think, I don't know how many weeks ago, right? That the New Day heel turn hasn't really gone anywhere. It's kind of floundered. We did the big event with Big E, we made everybody hate us, and then we're mostly relegated to commercial break segments to the live crowd getting heat. We crossed over a little bit with the LWO, American Made stuff, but yeah, I'm with you. I love the War Raiders, and I'd much rather see them continue to have the championships. But if the New Day lose here, I really don't know what is up for them, where they go. It seems like they would be DOA with this heel turn, unless some wild like Big E shows up and costs them the match. Maybe then I could see it. But if they lose cleanly to the War Raiders, kind of done. Right, well, I talked about the LWO and American Made feud. We were wondering, is it going to be a six-man tag? What sort of combination are we going to have spin out of it? It is going to be Rey Mysterio, and it is going to be El Grande Americano. And not a mask versus mask match, just a singles match.
Yeah, that's because we're building to it. I think Rey wins here. I think Rey wins here. But I could see El Grande Americano like attacking him after the match. Possibly even ripping his mask off, which would then give us a reason to have a rematch for a mask versus match.
Yeah, it does feel like that's like the end game, right? Because you've got Chad Gable. I mean, you've got El Grande here. It just makes so much sense to have that mask versus mask match. And if this ain't it, well, hey. But I guess if long term I'm expecting El Grande to get unmasked in the mask versus mask, maybe here we get an El Grande win, through heelish tactics. Maybe he's trying to pull off Rey's mask halfway through. He gets distracted, roll up win, giving Americano, a win. And then Rey gets his win back on the mask versus mask. There's a few options around this match, but I think ultimately the reason there's options is that the outcome doesn't super matter, because as you say, it is just building towards the bigger clash.
And they could just completely screw everything that you just said and just have Rey pull the mask off of him right after beating him.
Yeah, that's also likely. That is also likely. Jumping on to the next one, Jade Cargill, Naomi. We'd wondered how Bianca Belair was going to play into this. It looked like maybe she was the attacker of Jade, maybe she wasn't. Naomi turned out to be the attacker, got all emotional with Bianca, and then we've kind of separated so that Bianca can go off and do her title match, and Naomi can be fed to Jade Cargill.
Yeah, they're going to have to change the mat after this match, because Naomi is going to be a grease spot after this. There is not a universe. There's not even a Dolph Ziggler universe that Naomi beats Jade at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think there's so many things, right? Like, it's Jade, so already has a high percentage chance. It's Jade coming off the heels of a return, even higher chance. It's Naomi on the other side, who doesn't have the greatest winning record, and it's Jade getting revenge. That's the story. If Naomi wins here, I'm in utter disbelief and confused. I assume Jade picks up the win, beats Naomi, and then goes on to something else. What that something else is, we'll have to see. For me, less the outcome, I'm more interested in how Jade Cargill performs in the match. Has that time in the performance center paid off? What are we going to see? Are we going to see anything crazy, anything new? That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is how does she perform? Because we know Naomi's solid. She's very solid in the ring. So the question will be definitely the spotlight will definitely be on Jade and her ability, and also the question mark of how long the match will be. Because I don't expect it to be a particularly long match.
You're right. If this is a stinker, it's probably not Naomi's fault. And yeah, this it feels like it could just go, 5-6 minutes. Depends. Maybe the match never starts. Maybe Jade attacks Naomi. Could be a way that Naomi walks out with the win if Jade just doesn't let up and gets herself disqualified or counted out because she's just beating on Naomi. But yeah, I think for me it's going to be the bell to bell that I care about with this match, less so the outcome. And then the United States Championship is also on the line on night one. LA Knight coming into it as champion after defeating Shinsuke Nakamura for the title, going up against Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, they might have to do if these matches happen like back to back. They might have to do multiple ring changes because I think there's going to be a legal murder at WrestleMania because I think Jacob Fatu kills LA Knight and takes that title.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the most likely outcome. I only see two outcomes for this match. A Fatu dominance, just unleash the Samoan werewolf, destroys LA Knight. LA Knight will get some stuff in. It won't be it'll be like 90-10. Fatu destroys him, walks out United States champion, or we do something with Solo Sikoa, potentially costing Fatu the match. That's the two outcomes. There's no LA Knight wins cleanly outcome. It's not on the cards. It's not in the options. Your options are 80% likely Fatu walks out with the title, 20% likely Solo screws him accidentally or on purpose. And those are kind of it. That's where that US title's going. Well, then we've also got the WWE Women's Championship on the line. Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair. We've had a few random segments between the two. Dirt sheets going wild about things going off script, heat between each other. Charlotte Flair in shambles. Tiffany Stratton not living up to the hype. The dirt sheets pumping out an article a day about this matchup.
I still think this is going to be a major showcase for Tiffy. I really, really hope she wins the match because that makes her such a bigger star. But it's Charlotte Flair on the other side. It's kind of don't bet against what we said for 4 years with Roman Reigns. Don't bet against Roman Reigns. It's hard to bet against Charlotte Flair in any circumstance.
Yeah. Betting against Charlotte Flair and betting against Charlotte Flair in a championship match, right? They're things you don't do.
Yeah, and especially at WrestleMania. Just ask Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. If it is hard, I'm all behind Tiffany Stratton. I think this would do wonders for her to pick up the win here and shoot her into the upper stratosphere. Anybody who had questions about Tiffany Stratton wouldn't have them afterwards if she defeats Charlotte Flair here at WrestleMania and retains her championship. And you kind of always have that with the cash-in victories where they're like, did they only win because it was a cash-in or can they be a solid champion? This is where you can solidify her. Versus Charlotte Flair, where if she wins, I'm just going to see a billion posts of Charlotte wins lol posted around because Charlotte always wins. You don't bet against her. World Heavyweight Championship also on the line. The other Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso, taking on Gunther. Tell me why Jay's going to win.
Well, the story is that Jay's got his questions about whether he can beat him. They Gunther is doing everything he can to bring true what he said if he picked him, and making Jey Uso's life a living hell. At the end of the day, yeah, Jey Uso's winning the championship. I do think it's very interesting that both Rumble matches winners are on night one. Um, but yeah, I think Jay wins here, and as he's walking out with the title after a 5-minute Yeet Fest, they play Roman's music and they acknowledge each other as he's walking out for his match in the main event, and Jay's walking back to the back.
I do like that full circle moment, and I would be quite happy if that is how the match went. I do never bet against Gunther when it comes to a championship match and having gold around his waist because he certainly loves it. But I got to here. I feel like although the storyline, in the Tiffany Charlotte stuff, things are getting blurry around Faith and stuff. But with this, 100%, as you said, the storyline is Jay is shaken in his faith in himself. The crowd have been behind him. The crowd have been yeeting. The crowd still want to see it. And to have Gunther just defeat Jay here after Gunther has defeated Jay so many times at pay-per-views prior to him winning the Royal Rumble, it wouldn't be satisfying. It wouldn't be the conclusion to the story. It wouldn't make sense. And so Jay got to walk out here.
Yeah, it would be a terrible conclusion to Jay's overall story just from the last 4 years of him getting out of Roman's shadow and becoming his own man. So yeah, it's got to be Jey Uso's got to walk out with this title, or they have to introduce somebody else into the story that makes it make sense. Like somebody from Jay's past or somebody from the Anoa'i family screw them, and that to make it make sense, because that's the only way he doesn't walk out the title is if somebody screws him over.
That makes sense for sure. And for the sake of time, I got to jump. You mentioned Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is taking on CM Punk and is taking on Seth Rollins in a triple threat match to main event night one. CM Punk gets what he wants, and right now the whole story is kind of around the wise man. He's not going to be in Roman Reigns' corner thanks to the favor. He's going to be in CM Punk's corner, and Seth Rollins standing tall this week on Raw probably doesn't do well for his chances either.
That's the thing. I think Seth wins.
Alrighty.
Um, I think the focus has been so much on Roman and CM Punk that the one person that could benefit from this the most, and especially from an alliance with Paul Heyman, is Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, it's fair. I definitely see it as an outcome. I think I've heard it a bunch where, as you said, these two are just focused on each other. They're fighting over Paul Heyman. So Seth Rollins does what he does best in triple threats at WrestleMania, slips in, gets the win. And so I wouldn't be crazy shocked. And it's funny looking at this match, and I do wonder, does Roman Reigns actually have the least odds to win this WrestleMania main event? Because I think I've got I got CM Punk close first with Seth Rollins behind him in terms of odds, and Roman Reigns actually coming up the rear, which is something that doesn't often happen.
Yeah. But we've said it multiple times, never bet against Roman. Nothing will surprise me if Roman wins the match.
And all of a sudden, it's a three-way coin flip. Alrighty, well, we got to go into our entrance theme of the week. It is the theme for WrestleMania 41, and it's playing for you right about now. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Night 2 of WrestleMania now. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, the Women's Tag Team Champions, are going to be defending against Bayley and the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria.
I'm going to break protocol, and I'm going to talk about actually a stand and deliver match because it also has to deal with this match.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about the fatal four way in NXT to determine the number one contenders because they added a tag team to that match.
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade are going to win that match. The reason why? Because Bayley and Lyra are going to win the titles.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I cannot shake the fact that we are still halfway through a Roxanne Perez versus Bayley feud, right? Um, how that comes to fruition, whether, as you say, Bayley and Lyra win the titles here, and then you pay that off with Roxanne versus Cora, or whether that's Roxanne and Cora winning the number one contendership at NXT and then coming up, I think it's the next night and costing Bayley and Lyra, turning it into a three-way or three-team feud. I don't know, but I cannot shake Roxanne versus Bayley is still midway through.
Which is why I said Bayley and Lyra are going to win the tag title, which then means the tag titles are yet again intertwined with a championship.
Yep, that's all
Uh,
I got to say on that. Yep. Well, we will see what happens because we got to also talk about the singles match: AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Karrion Kross. We know who he wants to win this match. We know he was trying to awaken AJ Styles so that he could beat the HE double hockey sticks out of Logan Paul, and I kind of want to see it too. Don't make that
I
noise. That's the noise of someone
yeah
picking Logan Paul.
yes, that's the noise of somebody's designed assigned to their fate. Yeah, I think Logan Paul wins. Much to my chagrin, much to everybody's chagrin that isn't a Paul fan.
I refuse. I'm picking AJ Styles. You know what? Let's just move on. Let's just talk the Intercontinental Championship because I got a feeling we may end up disagreeing on this one. Braun Breaker coming in as champion. Standing across from him will be Penta, will be Finn Balor, and will be Dominic Mysterio.
This I think this has the potential of being the match of the weekend.
Banger.
I think these four are extremely talented. They all can go. They have their own styles. Uh, there's not much more you can say about that. It's just these four guys are going to tear the house down. It is a shame that Sheamus isn't involved
Yeah.
for you, but I think at the end of the day, I think Penta wins the title. As much as I want Dominic to win it, I think Penta wins it.
There we go. Maybe we aren't going to disagree. I thought maybe you were going to pick Dominic Mysterio coming out of this. Yeah, I think I love Penta, right? I'm not gonna go against Penta. Braun Breaker's been a great champion. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio is obviously a feud that is gonna spin out of this as the Judgment Day has to deal with that. Will the title be involved is kind of the only question. I think my outcomes are Penta wins and the Judgment Day feud stays completely separate, or Dominic Mysterio wins and the Judgment Day feud is rolled in. And it all just comes down to how they want to tell the Judgment Day story, what sort of bits and pieces they want to use. But my heart is set on Penta, and therefore I'm gonna pick Penta. Oh, we got three more matches to get through. Sin City Street Fight: Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre.
This has been brewing for an entire year, and not in the same kind of way that the Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud did. But it has been because it was a year ago that Damian Priest cashed in his briefcase on a Drew McIntyre that had just won the championship.
This is technically a WrestleMania rematch the year
Yeah,
after.
yeah. Um, I think this has a chance to be a brutal match. Um, I think Damian Priest wins, further spiraling our boy Drew into his insanity, and finding another reason to blame something that he did on somebody else. Um, but yeah, I think Priest wins here. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know where they go with either of these guys, to be honest, after this match. Um, but I think Priest winning here does him much more good than it does for Drew.
Yeah, that's kind of why this one's a bit of a coin toss to me because, as you say, Priest wins. I don't know where Priest goes. I don't know what Drew does. And then I'm like, okay, but Drew wins. I don't know what Drew does, and I don't know what Priest does. Um, the only thing you can think of is maybe the winner ends up becoming number one contender, but it all depends on who ends up winning the last match that we end up talking about. And if that goes the way I think that goes, then maybe Priest uh, picks up the win. I don't know. But this one is very coin tossy to me, and when we get to a coin toss, I go with my heart, and my heart says Drew McIntyre, so I've got to pick my boy, even though he has been pretty darn unlucky when it comes to Damian Priest. All right, we are down 2 matches left. Women's World Championship is on the line. It is a triple threat. Io Sky comes in as champion, but you wouldn't really know that the way Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley are treating her, as they're kind of a little bit more focused on each other, and maybe they should have some eyes on the champion.
Yeah, Io's definitely taken the role of basically what the Miz was at WrestleMania 26.
Hmm.
The champion, but nobody cares about the champion, because it's all about the other two people involved. Um, I my head says Bianca because in my head it's still part of building towards a match with Jade later in the year. Um, Although I heard one thing that I thought they could do to maybe like guarantee it. I've I heard they're not going to be doing the Queen of the Ring this year. I thought maybe you could have Jade win that tournament and set up a world title match at SummerSlam, and that'd be the
Yeah.
easiest way to do it.
That
Without having to do any hoops. But the more I've seen of them just ignoring Io Sky, the more likely she's going to retain her title.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I look at this and I say, sorry, Rhea, you are poop out of luck because it's going to go one or two ways. As you say, Bianca Belair wins because that's the match that they wanted. Oh, sorry, the champion that they wanted. Bianca Belair won the number one contendership. She's here, and whether that's a match against Jade, what form that takes, they want that, or it's because they're ignoring Sky and Sky's going to retain. Those are the two outcomes to me. I only see Bianca and I only see Sky. And if Sky retains, it is because Belair and Ripley are too focused on each other, and that's it. And she'll end up capitalizing, pinning one of them, possibly Rhea, which could set up Bianca to have a rematch at Backlash, maybe. She's like, I won the number one contendership. I never got my one-on-one. I wasn't pinned in the triple threat. And then maybe Bianca versus Sky one-on-one at Backlash, and Bianca comes out with the title. I could definitely see that as an option, but we're not going to know exactly. Well, our final match, undisputed WWE Championship, the big story heading into WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes defending against a heel John Cena.
Crazy how different a year can make for someone. This time last year, we were like, Cody's got to win this time. It's Cody's time. His time is now. And a year later, we're like, I don't know if if it's Cody's time after all. Um,
It is a weird, 3 episode arc for Cody, right? If you look at WrestleMania 39, I think it was, the loss against Roman Reigns, coming into WrestleMania 40, the big build with The Rock, and ends up coming out the winner there, getting the championship, and then now he's going up against John Cena, an avatar of The Rock, at the headline for 41. And yeah, it might be, I don't know. I only see outcomes here where John Cena wins. I'm pretty confident on John Cena wins.
I'm actually 50-50 on it, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I I could see Cena winning, but I also can see Cody winning. I could see Cody overcoming the odds the way he did last year. Maybe not with some help from the Undertaker this time, uh, but possibly getting some help from some of his friends. Um, but because I could see them potentially spinning out to an eventual match just between Cody and Rock.
Yeah, I think you
At
do
some
have to
point.
do that eventually, right?
Yeah.
That's the climax.
Yeah. Um, So I don't know. I'm gonna go 51-49 and say Cena wins, but nothing in this match will surprise me.
I think this should be a good one. I just think John Cena as champion, getting number 17 at WrestleMania, and then being a heel champion, and the amount of people you could throw up against him in matches, just having him defend the championship makes sense. I want to see it. I want to reward John Cena for doing the heel turn, taking that twist to the character. And ultimately, I'm sure by the end of the year, he'll be back to a face. We'll be cheering him in his final match. And we'll have to see how it all rolls out. Well, that is all we've got time for this week. We did get through all the matches before running out of time, but it's been great talking to you.
Maybe.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, and our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling R&D up. And we will catch you next week with the results from WrestleMania 41.